Hi, everyone. I am Amy Moskowitz. I'm the reference manager here at the Haverford Township Free Library, and we are here today with Lunchtime with a Librarian. Lunchtime with a Librarian is our monthly program where we get to interview a member of the library community and find out a little bit more about them. And today we are here with Rebecca. Rebecca is one of our most recent additions to the library. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And Rebecca, will you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Rebecca Manuel. I work here in the circulation department part-time, and I have another job at another library. So if you've ever seen me in Exton at the Chester County Library, I also work there at the Jacobs Technology Center. And I am also in graduate school for library science.
Very busy.
Yes.
What do you love most about working in libraries?
I like the opportunity to help people. It's not in like a huge way, like, somebody leading the country in politics or a firefighter or a police officer or whoever saving lives. But it's in a more small scale, intimate way. We get to provide a very needed service for the community, and I get to help just people who live around me.
Absolutely. I think that we do make a contribution to our community. What did you do before you worked in libraries?
Yeah, so I graduated undergrad in 2014. And then after I graduated, I actually moved to Japan to teach English for 2 years. And after I came back, I floundered for a little bit. I ended up working at Starbucks just to have something to do, some way to make money. And then just through a variety of lucky circumstances, I snagged my job at the Chester County Library, and that was how I got into librarianship. And so from there, then I added on my second job here at the Haverford Library.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
What drew you to libraries?
So I mean, apart from what I said about, the value of libraries, I mean, I feel like it's what draws most people to libraries is a love of books. And I love stories in all formats. I love obviously reading books, but I also read web comics and graphic novels, and I like watching television and movies and all different formats of stories. I just consume.
Just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what are your favorite books?
I like to read young adult novels, despite the fact that I'm almost 30. I very much enjoy young adult novels. I think there's something to be said about um, the ability of young adult novels to sort of, I don't know, they show people learning about who they are, and they show people growing up and changing. And I think, I don't know, it's something I feel like no matter how old you are, you can resonate with, and that's something that's captured very well in young adult novels. So my favorite genre is young adult fantasy and science fiction.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I was just going to ask, and you kind of got ahead of me about your favorite genre.
Yeah, that's my favorite genre. I could talk about specific books if you like.
Oh, yeah, that was great. What are some
Yeah.
recommendations for our listeners?
Yeah. So some of my favorite books, well, mostly I have favorite series. I find I don't often stick to like standalone novels for some reason. So some of my favorite series, I love the Lunar Chronicles series. It's a very cool series. It's science fiction, what do you call them? Fairy tale retellings.
Hmm.
There are four main books in the series. It's Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. And so each of them takes on a different, what do you call it? Fairy tale. So first one is Cinderella. Second one is Little Red Riding Hood. Third one is Rapunzel, and fourth one is Snow White. But they are all one story. They all build off of each other, and it's in this science fiction universe where there are cyborgs, and Earth is in conflict with the people who live on the moon, and it's very cool. It's a very cool series. Definitely recommend.
What were some of your favorite books growing up?
Actually, I'm rereading one of my favorite series that I loved when I grew up. There's a bunch of books written by Tamara Pierce in the Tortall universe. So they're a bunch of series. So they're each 4 books in the series. So I mean, there's the Alana series, there is the Immortals series, the Protector of the Small series, Becca Cooper. There's like a bunch of them all in the same universe. And I'm currently rereading the Protector of the Small series. And that was always one of my favorite series growing up. I really connected with the main character. She actually spent most of her childhood growing up in this place called the Yamani Islands, which is sort of the fantasy version of Japan, actually. Um, and she's learned how to be very reserved, and the people in the Imani Islands don't show emotion very well, or it's actually considered rude to show emotion. So she's very contained, but she's also very driven, and um, she's a very black and white character, I would say. Like she very much knows what she believes is right, and very much knows what she believes is wrong, and is not willing to compromise on her values. Um, and also recently found out that because people ask the authors these things, but she is an asexual, aromantic character, and I personally am on the asexuality scale, and so it kind of makes all sorts of sense why I connected with her as a kid now in hindsight. So I'm rereading the books again.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Aside from reading, what are your hobbies?
Let's see. I am not a very physically active person, so most of my hobbies are seated, I suppose. Um, I like to listen to music. I'm very much into actually Korean pop music.
Hmm.
So if anybody likes BTS, let me know. We can chat. But yeah, I mean, mostly I either work or do schoolwork or consume stories in some manner. It's sort of how I think about it, because it's just all in different formats, right? So if I'm not reading, I'm maybe watching a television show, or even music tells a story too. So I'm consuming stories through music, or you know, in whatever medium um, that I'm into at the moment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Aside from Japan, which you
Mhm.
mentioned, where
Yes.
might you like to travel or visit?
Everywhere? Is that possible? I've actually been to a surprising number of countries at this point, I guess. Um, my, I guess it was the summer before my junior year of high school. I got lucky enough to have the opportunity to go to Europe for American Music Abroad. It was a program that I went as part of the choir. You go and you practice for like 3 days, and then they ship you off to Europe, and you travel around different countries in Europe performing. So I went for the choir, and we went that year to France, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland,
Wow,
which was really wonderful.
sounds like
Um, and then also while I was in Japan, I did some traveling there. So of course I traveled around Japan, but I also traveled to South Korea, um, and I spent like 16-ish hours in Istanbul, and then a week in Greece. It was me
oh,
and my friend's birthday trip because my birthday's on the 25th, and her birthday's, I think, on the 28th. She's going to kill me if she watches this and I get it wrong, but I think that's it. But yeah, so we went for like the week of our birthdays.
oh, wow, that's quite a birthday present.
Yeah. Birthday present to ourselves.
So if you could live in, or maybe travel to, any book universe, where would it be?
Oof, that's so hard because I primarily read fantasy and science fiction, and
Right.
I would absolutely die. I'd be like one of the first ones killed off, and we'd
Aw.
probably be off screen. Nobody would see it happen. Maybe somewhere that exists in like the real world. I mean, my other option is maybe Hogwarts,
Mm.
but like, I'd probably be killed by Voldemort somehow, or not by him because I wouldn't be cool enough to be killed by him. It would just be by one of his cronies, or
Mm.
by accident, maybe. Maybe I die in like the final fight, just like running around, not knowing what to do.
Aw. It would be a cool world to be in regardless, maybe
It
before
would.
you die.
I'd enjoy myself all the way up until my death.
Hmm. Sounds fun. Rebecca, what are you reading now?
Yeah, so actually, I'm taking this coming semester starts from graduate school starts on Monday, and I'm doing the young adult literature course.
Ooh.
So I'm sort of prepping for the class because I got the book list from one of my other coworkers who also took the class, and I'm hoping it's correct because she took the 4-week summer course, and I'm taking the 14-week regular semester spring course. So watch it be totally off, and I'm just reading books now that aren't going to make any difference to the class. But for the class, one of the books on the reading list is called Annie on My Mind.
Hmm.
It's actually one of like the original, I guess, lesbian romance, young adult lesbian romance novels. Um, it's from like the 90s. It was published in 1992, so I'm not quite certain when it was supposed to be set, but I imagine in a similar time period. I'm almost at the end. I have about 50 pages left, and I'm kind of dreading reading it because the two main characters just got outed as lesbians in a time when it was kind of dangerous to be so. So I'm like, oh god, like clench fists. I have to get through the end.
Oh.
But yeah, so I'm currently reading Annie on My Mind.
So kind of shifting gears a little bit, what advice would you give someone who wants to be a librarian?
Um, that is a good question. Be prepared for it to be much more physically demanding than you expect it to be. um, but also, I don't know, it's about just loving what you do, I think. It's about your motivations for being here. Because I've been around some people that I kind of question, like, why did you become a librarian? Not that it's wrong, but it feels like they're not enjoying their work. Like they complain a lot, or they're just not having fun, or I don't know. Um, so yeah, I think just keeping sight of why you wanted to be a librarian is important. Why you're here, even if that changes. Maybe the reason you became a librarian was different than the reason you're staying. But I don't know. I guess it's sort of advice for any job, though. Is like, why did you become this? What you wanted to be, and why are you staying? But yeah, I think that's important, especially because just in general, it can be hard. Um, like if you have so much work to do that day, or um, like you have books like coming out of your eyeballs and you don't know what to do with them and you're all stressed out, or if you're dealing like with really like you know unpleasant people, or you have a lot of angry patrons because you just changed a policy in the library or something, because that happens a lot, especially right now. um it's just good to remember why you're here, not getting caught up in like, oh, this was so terrible, I had to do all this work or deal with all these people or whatever, negative day-to-day things that you're experiencing. So yeah, just remember why you like it. I think that's important for being a librarian, but also for any job, I guess.
Definitely. I think that's great advice. Thank you. And lastly, what do you like about serving the patrons in this community?
Well, I'm still familiarizing myself with this community. Um, particularly by name, as in by like numbers of books on the hold shelves, or I recognize that name because they get out a lot of children's books or something. So I'm still familiarizing myself with the community, I think, but I don't know. Everybody's been kind of great. The staff have all been really nice because in my other job, I work at the technology center, so I don't do any circulation tasks or anything like that. So it's been sort of about learning a new skill set, and everybody's been really nice about it. And even patrons that I'm like, I'm really sorry, I'm new. Let me go ask somebody else. They're usually good about it. They're, oh, okay, no problem. So it's been nice coming into a nice community of people.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for being with us today on Lunchtime with the Librarian. It was great getting to know you.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, and it's great working with you. So everybody, if you see Rebecca around the library, make sure to say hello. And thank
Well,
you.
and be patient with me because I'm still learning.
Definitely. All right, thank you again, and join us next month for more Lunchtime with the Librarian. Thanks. Bye.